A promise fulfilled, Hamas to release Israeli soldiers, a moment that many thought might never come. The news, carried on whispers of hope and the weight of years, echoed across the world, reaching every corner where the conflict has been felt. Hamas, the Palestinian militant group, has agreed to release 4 Israeli soldiers, a decision that has taken many by surprise. This long-awaited announcement signals a potential thaw in the frozen conflict between Israel and Hamas, a conflict that has spanned decades and caused immeasurable suffering. The details are still emerging, shrouded in the delicate dance of diplomacy, where every word and gesture carries significant weight. Yet, the promise is clear. 4 families, long suspended in a nightmare of uncertainty, may finally welcome their sons home, a dream they have clung to for years. The deal, brokered by Egypt, represents a significant breakthrough in the ongoing struggle, showcasing the power of persistent diplomacy. Egypt, a key player in the region, has long served as a mediator between Israel and Hamas, navigating the treacherous waters of Middle Eastern politics. Their role underscores the complexities of the conflict, a tangled web of political maneuvering and human lives, where every decision impacts countless individuals. This act of diplomacy, however fragile, offers a glimmer of hope in a region often overshadowed by violence and despair. The identities of the soldiers remain a closely guarded secret, their names whispered in hushed tones, known only to a few. Each name carries the weight of a family's anguish, a nation's concern, and the hope for a future where such separations are no longer necessary. Their return, if successful, would mark a rare moment of unity for a country deeply divided, a moment where differences are set aside for a common cause. The imminent release raises questions, sparks anxieties, and ignites a flicker of cautious optimism as people wonder what this means for the future. The world watches, holding its breath, waiting to see if this fragile hope will blossom into lasting peace or wither under the weight of history's shadow, a shadow that has loomed large for so long. The coming days will determine not only the fate of 4 soldiers but perhaps the direction of a conflict that has claimed countless lives, shaping the future of an entire region. The weight of freedom negotiation and the price of hope. Freedom, a concept universally cherished, often comes at a steep price. It is a beacon of hope, yet it demands sacrifices that test the very fabric of societies. In this delicate dance of diplomacy, the release of the 4 Israeli soldiers hinges on a prisoner exchange. This exchange is not just a transaction but a complex interplay of political, social, and emotional stakes. The terms of the deal, negotiated in secrecy, remain largely undisclosed. Behind closed doors, negotiators weigh each decision with the gravity of its potential consequences. However, sources suggest that Israel will release a significant number of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the soldiers' freedom. This decision is fraught with tension and uncertainty. The identities of these prisoners, their crimes and sentences, remain shrouded in speculation. Each prisoner has a story, a past that complicates the narrative of their release. Each name on the list represents a life intertwined with the conflict, a story etched in the struggle for land and identity. These are not just names but symbols of a larger ongoing struggle. Their release, a necessary concession for the return of the soldiers, ignites a firestorm of debate. The public is divided, with emotions running high on both sides. For some, the exchange represents a bitter pill to swallow, a necessary evil in the pursuit of a greater good. It is seen as a compromise that, while painful, is essential for progress. The release of individuals deemed terrorists by Israel stirs a potent cocktail of anger and apprehension. The fear of potential repercussions looms large. The potential for these individuals to return to violence casts a long shadow over the deal. The memories of past violence are still fresh and painful. Others view the exchange through a different lens, seeing it as a painful but necessary step towards reconciliation. They believe that peace requires bold and sometimes uncomfortable actions. They argue that the release of prisoners, regardless of their past actions, offers a chance for a new beginning. It is an opportunity to break the cycle of hatred and build a future based on mutual understanding. It is a gamble, a leap of faith, a desperate hope for a future free from the shackles of hatred and violence. The path to peace is fraught with challenges, but it is a journey worth undertaking. Echoes of the past, a legacy of hostage exchanges. These exchanges have shaped the political landscape and the lives of countless individuals on both sides. The The impending release of the 4 Israeli soldiers evokes memories of a past etched in similar exchanges. Each exchange carries with it a heavy emotional and political weight, impacting not just the immediate families but entire communities. The history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is littered with instances where human lives became bargaining chips, pawns in a high-stakes game of political chess. These exchanges often serve as temporary solutions, leaving deeper issues unresolved. One such exchange, forever seared into the collective memory of both nations, serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of this conflict. The emotional reunions are often juxtaposed with the pain of those still waiting for their loved ones. In 2011, Gilad Shalit, an Israeli soldier held captive by Hamas for over 5 years, was released in exchange for over 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. This exchange was one of the most significant and controversial in recent history. The deal, met with jubilation in Israel and cautious optimism in some Palestinian circles, underscored the power of hostage diplomacy. It highlighted the lengths to which both sides would go to secure the release of their people. It also highlighted the moral complexities inherent in such exchanges, raising questions about justice, accountability, and the true price of freedom. The debates that followed were intense and often deeply personal. The Shalit exchange, while hailed as a victory by many, left a legacy of unanswered questions and unresolved tensions. The impact of such exchanges reverberates through the years, influencing future negotiations and political strategies. Some argued that the release of convicted terrorists emboldened Hamas, fueling the cycle of violence. Others saw it as a necessary evil, a step towards potential peace. Others maintained that it demonstrated a commitment to human life, a willingness to make difficult choices for the sake of peace. The moral and ethical dilemmas posed by these exchanges continue to challenge leaders and citizens alike. The current exchange, while echoing the Shalit case, unfolds in a different context, a new chapter in the long and bloody saga of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Each new exchange brings with it the hope for resolution, but also the fear of further entrenchment. It remains to be seen whether this exchange will pave the path towards a more peaceful future, or simply sow the seeds for future conflict. The stakes are high, and the world watches with bated breath. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been a long-standing issue marked by decades of tension, violence, and attempts at peace. Both sides have deep-rooted historical and cultural ties to the region, making the conflict incredibly complex and difficult to resolve. Over the years, numerous efforts for peace and reconciliation have been made, but a lasting solution remains elusive. Reactions to the recent prisoner exchange have been mixed. Some see it as a necessary step towards building trust and potentially paving the way for future negotiations. Others, however, view it with skepticism, fearing it may lead to further unrest and violence. International observers are closely monitoring the situation, hoping for a positive outcome but preparing for any potential fallout. Analyzing the impact of the prisoner swap requires a nuanced understanding of the political and social dynamics at play. On one hand, the exchange could serve as a confidence-building measure, encouraging both sides to engage in more meaningful dialogue. On the other hand, it might embolden hardliners who oppose any form of compromise. The true impact will likely unfold over time as both immediate and long-term consequences become clearer. As we look towards the future, uncertainty looms large. The path to peace is fraught with challenges, and the recent developments add another layer of complexity to an already intricate situation. While there is always hope for a breakthrough, the reality on the ground remains unpredictable. Both sides must navigate a delicate balance, striving for a resolution that acknowledges their respective needs and aspirations.